Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the invisible, kind of mind-blowing world of plant respiration. We're going to figure out exactly how these complex organisms manage to breathe without, having any lungs at all. Here is our quick roadmap. We'll start with the basic rules of diffusion. Pit photosynthesis against respiration. Look at how the day and night cycle changes everything. Peek inside a leaf's actual architecture. And finally, look at a real experiment that proves all of this. Let's get right into it. Part 1. The rules of diffusion. So how exactly do plants breathe without lungs? It's a pretty brilliant engineering problem when you think about it. Without active ventilation systems like our human respiratory organs or fish gills, how do these complex, stationary plants manage to continuously swap out vital gases? Well, the answer lies in diffusion. It's a completely passive yet incredibly powerful biological force. There's no physical pumping involved, no muscular energy spent. It's literally just the natural physics of particles seeking balance by moving down a concentration gradient, from an area of really high concentration to an area of low concentration. Imagine oxygen and carbon dioxide molecules just naturally flowing across a cell boundary. If the fluid on the outside of a cell has a really high concentration of a certain gas, over time, those molecules will effortlessly drift across the membrane right into the cytoplasm until everything perfectly balances out. Now, for simple, single-celled organisms like an amoeba, this basic diffusion is absolutely perfect. Why? Well, they have a massive surface area compared to their tiny volume, and the distance those gases have to travel is microscopic. Oxygen just flows straight in, and carbon dioxide waste flows straight out. It's incredibly efficient. But when we scale things up to complex, multicellular organisms like a towering oak tree or a rose bush, simple surface diffusion just doesn't cut it anymore. A thick plant stem or a solid branch simply cannot wait around for gases to casually drift all the way into its center. They had to evolve highly specialized exchange surfaces. That is where leaves come in. Which brings us to part 2, photosynthesis versus respiration. Here is the absolutely crucial thing to remember. Plants are always respiring, 24/7. Just like us, they're releasing energy and they need oxygen to do it. But they only photosynthesize, making food and demanding massive amounts of carbon dioxide when the sun is actually shining. These two processes are basically running in opposite directions, and their tug-of-war dictates exactly what gases the plant pulls from the air at any given moment. Let's look at how this plays out in part 3, the day and night cycle. The net movement of gases completely flips when the sun goes down. During the day, carbon dioxide is flooding in to feed that heavy-duty photosynthesis engine. But at night, that engine shuts off completely. Relying solely on its continuous 24/7 respiration, the plant suddenly shifts gears. It actually starts pulling in oxygen and pushing out carbon dioxide waste. This totally flips the script on what we normally think plants do, because daytime photosynthesis rates are just so intensely high, they easily overpower and mask that steady background hum of respiration. But at night, in the dark, respiration is the only game in town, so carbon dioxide diffuses out and oxygen diffuses in. Moving on to part 4, inside a leaf's architecture. To handle all this heavy, invisible gas traffic, leaves have an amazing internal setup. Hidden inside a seemingly simple, flat green leaf is a highly optimized, multi-layered gas exchange factory. You got tightly packed palisade cells up at the top to catch the sun, sitting right above a surprisingly open, airy layer underneath. Every single feature of this architecture is a brilliant evolutionary hack designed to maximize that diffusion role we talked about earlier. That loosely packed spongy layer, it creates literal internal highways of air spaces. The cell walls are razor thin to keep travel distances incredibly short. Plus, the internal air is kept moist because gases move so much easier when they can dissolve first. And then you have the stomata. Think of these as the literal mechanical doors of the leaf factory. These tiny pores sit mostly on the underside of the leaf, flanked by specialized guard cells. When there's plenty of water and bright sunlight, these guard cells swell up, popping the doors wide open to let carbon dioxide just rush right in and fuel photosynthesis. So, how do we know all this is actually happening? Part 5, proving it with an experiment. To make these invisible gases visible, scientists use a special chemical called a hydrogen carbonate indicator. It basically acts like a mood ring for the atmosphere, dramatically shifting colors based on carbon dioxide levels. Orange is our baseline, normal atmospheric CO2. If a plant sucks CO2 out of the air, the liquid turns purple. If the plant pumps CO2 into the air, making it more acidic, it turns yellow. Setting this up is actually pretty straightforward. We pour the indicator into a few boiling tubes, add a leaf to each, and then manipulate the light. One tube gets completely blocked out with aluminum foil, one gets dimmed with a thin muslin cloth, and one stays in bright, direct light. And, of course, we have a control tube with no leaf at all. Then we just wait a few hours and watch the biological response happen in real time. The results perfectly back up our rules of diffusion and respiration. The leaf sitting in bright light heavily absorbed CO2 for photosynthesis, turning its liquid a deep purple. But the leaf trapped in the dark foil? It couldn't photosynthesize at all. It could only respire, so it flooded the tube with carbon dioxide waste, turning that indicator a bright acidic yellow. I want to leave you with a thought to really ponder. If plants actually respire at night, constantly releasing carbon dioxide into the dark air, how does this delicate daily balance affect our global atmosphere? Zoom out from that single microscopic leaf for a second and think about the breathing cycle of our entire planet. Half the globe is always in darkness, meaning countless trillions of leaves are silently exhaling carbon dioxide, while the sunlit half breathes it all back in. It is a stunning, beautifully balanced system driven entirely by the simple physics of diffusion. Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with me, and keep exploring.